Before I get started, I want to give a big thanks to Volvo Cars and Lyle, which made this video possible. So if you're in the market for a brand new or used Volvo, definitely check them out. Their website URL is in the description below. Today I'm behind the wheel of a brand new 2020 Volvo XC60. First of all, the XC60 is Volvo's compact slash mid-size SUV. And I put mid-size SUV in there because this is actually a pretty large SUV. If you look at the dimensions, the physical dimensions, and just how it feels on the inside, it's quite big. And this is the second best-selling SUV for Volvo, right behind the XC90, which is still insanely popular and the most popular car or SUV that Volvo sells today. Now let's start out with the engines because there's quite a bit. There's actually 3 of them that you could choose from, and they're all 2 liters, but hear me out. The base is labeled T5. It's a 2-liter turbo engine, and it's pushing 250 horsepower, and this is not a bad engine. This one that I'm driving is utilizing the T5. Now with the T5 engine, you could select front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. So in case you wanted an XC60 just front-wheel drive, you have to select the T5 engine. Next up, you have the T6, which is the same turbo 2-liter, but Volvo slapped on a supercharger, and that is now pushing over 316 horsepower. So you're going up from 250 to 16. That is a big jump. I mean, you've heard of supercharged engines and turbo engines, but both together, kind of wild. And then if you wanted even more power, you could go up to the T8, which is the hybrid engine setup where you still have the same engine, 2-liter turbocharged engine with supercharger. Now you get hybrid motors added in there, and the total output now goes up to 400 horsepower. So after you have selected the engine, then you can select the trim levels, and there's 3 to choose from. You have the base, which is Momentum, and then you have the Inscription, and then you have the R Design. So you have these 3, and then there's a 4th one called Polestar, which is kind of like a separate thing. The one I'm driving today is the XC60 with the T5 engine. It's the Momentum trim, and it has all-wheel drive. So hopefully that didn't confuse you too much. Let's start out with the outside. It has a very modern and stylish look. This, in my opinion, is one of the best compact slash mid-size luxury SUVs out on the market today. Up front, you have that signature Volvo grille. Also, you have LED headlights and daytime running lights, of Thor's hammer. It's really distinctive. It pops out. In the back, you have that taillight design also that's very Volvo-like. Overall, this is a good-looking exterior. Now standard, you get 18-inch alloy wheels, which already look pretty good, but this one I'm driving has optional 19-inch wheels. Take a look. Makes the stance look a little bit better, but in case 19-inch wheels aren't big enough for you, you could opt for 20-inch, 21-inch, and go up as high as 22 inches if you wanted to. Now that's the outside. What about the inside? When you open the doors, you could tell right away you're greeted with leather throughout, and this is real leather, not leatherette or some kind of imitation leather. This is real leather. It feels good. It's shaped nice. Even in the back, you can see the seats are nicely shaped. So Volvo spent a lot of time on the interior. And then you move up to the dash, the way the digital gauge cluster looks, the 9-inch infotainment screen, the aluminum handles on the door, everything in here screams luxury. Now, as for space, this XC60, like I said at the beginning, it's right in between like a compact and mid-size SUV. It's plenty big. So if you take a look at the trunk, you get a good amount of space. Now, on the left side, you do have a 12V outlet and also a net for some things that you want to put in there. Underneath, you have a spare tire. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of hidden storage back there, but you do get a nice privacy cover, and you could adjust it a couple ways too. You could fold it out and it's normal height, but you can also set it a little bit higher in case you have some bigger things in the back that you want to hide. You could do that. You also get a power liftgate that's standard. However, with the premium package that this one is equipped with, you get hands-free power tailgate. Now moving into the second row, there's a good amount of space. I'm 5'10", so behind my driving position, I have probably 45 inches of legroom left, so it's pretty comfortable. Same thing, headroom about 3 to 4 inches. The seats do not adjust. They don't slide forward, backwards, or recline, but it is set in a default position that's pretty comfortable already. Now moving up here, same thing. It's pretty big. You know, a headroom about 3 to 4 inches, plenty of shoulder room, hip room is not bad too. So overall, the size in here is actually pretty comfortable. This gauge cluster, it is one gigantic screen, and that is standard across all XC60s. It's really nice. I like the way it looks. Everything, speedometer, tachometer, your fuel, your temperature, all digital. You can also display navigation if your XC60 is equipped with it. Also, you can look at trip computer, media, your phone, all that good stuff. That's all in here. And this is complemented by a very beautiful and gorgeous 9-inch infotainment screen. This is pretty much the standard setup now in all Volvos, from sedans to SUVs. And this is the best system I've tested so far. Volvo designed this to act like a smartphone. I have a home screen that displays the essential stuff, your compass, navigation, where you're going, your phone. And if you scroll to the right side, you'll see essentials like your radio, your media, also some apps. You can have Pandora playing on here. You can also download other apps like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Those are standard compatible. You scroll to the left side, this is where you can control a few things like your safety features. Also, if you want to replace your wiper, you can do that. There's a convenient wiper service button, but you can fold down the rear headrest if you wanted to. And in terms of climate control, also, it's all touch, but it's really, really easy. So you have dual climate control over here. So you just press on the temperature and it opens up. You could slide it. You can pick it specifically. You can select heated seats and heated steering wheel. There's actually multiple levels for the heated steering wheel, which you don't see a lot. Heated steering wheel is not standard. Heated steering wheel and rear heated seats, they're part of an additional package. So unfortunately, that's not standard. That is an optional package you have to add on. Now in the middle, you press it and you can adjust the fan speed. You can change everything to auto. And if you ever get confused and you don't know where the hell you are, just press the home button and it'll just go back for you, or it'll go to the home screen. And it's just a really easy setup. This is by far the best infotainment screen I have ever tested in any of the cars I've driven. That's saying a lot. This is a beautiful screen. And look at the dash surrounding the screen. I mean, the way the vents are shaped, the piano black trim, the use of aluminum everywhere. I mean, this is just a beautiful, beautiful setup. Now moving to the center console area, you have a standard shifter, which is nice with sport shifting. There's no paddle shifters in here, but on the upper trims for the XC60, you can get paddle shifters, which is nice. And underneath that, you have drive modes. You can select Eco, Comfort, Dynamic, or Off-Road. Not that any of you guys would go off-road, but you can select it, and your digital gauge cluster does change. So as you can see, Eco looks different from Comfort, looks different from Dynamic, and Off-Road also looks a little bit different. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of USB ports at all in this XC60. There's only 2 in the armrest. There's none up here, and there's none for the second row either. The second row, you do get a 12V outlet, but that's pretty much it. So unfortunately, there's not a lot of USB ports in here for some reason. Also, what's standard is this panoramic sunroof, which is brilliant. I love the fact that it's transparent, so even when closed, it lets some light in. So it adds to the brightness. It makes you feel like it's bigger inside the cabin, but when you open it up, it is very big. It goes all the way to the back, and it's really nice. So what about the drive? Well, the drive is beautiful. The suspension is right in between. Not very sporty, but not very soft either. So you feel some of the bumps, but it's not bad. It's in a controlled fashion. So it's kind of like right in between, and I think it's a good setup. In terms of noise level in here, it's quiet. It's very, very quiet. Everything is well insulated. No road noise, nothing from these tires. I don't hear really anything at all. Today is a really windy day, really windy day. In fact, my drone had a really hard time flying, but I don't hear anything in here.
was actually pretty decent. It wasn't very quick. It wasn't super speedy or anything, but it was definitely more than adequate. So in terms of passing, just getting up to speed, just normal day-to-day driving, this is very comfortable. And this engine, like I said, 250 horsepower, you got plenty of torque, and fuel economy isn't bad. Overall combined, 23 miles per gallon. And that's with all-wheel drive. So actually, that's not too shabby. Now, in terms of driving position and visibility, I think it's pretty good in here. I can see well over the hood. The windshield is very raked though, so I feel like I'm looking at the higher end of the windshield. So you kind of got to get used to that, but you still have plenty of headroom, so it's not like you're running out of headroom. But I can see well past the hood. The side windows are plenty big. The rear window is very big. Even with the headrest up in the second row, I could see well past them. The middle is nice and wide, but like I said, if you have the premium package, you can click, fold the rear headrest down, and they fold down like magic. It's really nice. These seats are very comfortable, very comfortable. Now, the R-Design seats that I've tested before, I find them to be a bit too much, a bit too sporty, a bit too stiff, and a bit too narrow. But these seats, the regular seats in the Momentum, they feel nice. They feel really nice. The cushion is soft, and this holds my back in, and overall, it's a good position. I like the steering a lot too. I think the steering wheel feels good, but I think the design is a little bit dated. It's not as good looking as some of the competition, but the steering feel is really nice. It's a nice weight with really precise steering. Almost no play in the steering wheel, like this. I could feel movement in the XC60, so it's very precise. It has a nice weight, and you know what? This is very enjoyable. I think this steering feel is quite good. Now, if you thought maybe like a Honda Passport or a Highlander or Pilot was quiet, this is like a whole other level of quietness. Safety features, you get a lot standard. You get lane warning, it keeps you within the lanes. Also, collision detection, auto braking, you get rear parking sensors too, and you get adaptive cruise control. But the thing that you don't get in here standard is blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. Unfortunately, if you wanted those things, that's part of the premium package. So in terms of pricing, if you get the very basic T5 front-wheel drive XC60 with no packages added on, it's coming in around $40,000. And that makes sense because compact SUVs, the non-luxury compact SUVs, they top out around $40,000. So if you get a fully loaded, let's say our TRD off-road RAV4, or you get a CRV Touring, you know, they top out around $38,000, $39,000. So that's where the luxury market takes over, $40,000 plus. Now, this one that I'm testing does have a few things added on. For example, the premium package, which is actually a really useful package. I would recommend it for those of you guys looking at XC60, and it doesn't cost too much, a little bit over $2,000. And this one also has optional 19-inch wheels. It also has the heated steering wheel and rear seat. So if you add all these together, it's coming in around $47,000, a little bit more than that. But the beauty right now is because of what's going on around the world, there's so many discounts and incentives and finance offers that's being thrown around everywhere. So this one, just on the website alone, says that this is discounted by over $5,000, which puts this in a $42,000 price range. That's only a few thousand more than, say, a fully loaded RAV4, CRV, Forester, Tiguan. And is it worth it? Yeah, it is. For an extra $2,000 or $3,000, this is so much better in so many ways. So if you're interested, next, let me sum up the good and bad about this XC60 so you can decide if this is the right SUV for you.
To sum up the good for the XC60, it is gorgeous, it has a very stylish exterior look, it also has a very high quality cabin within. One of the best infotainment systems I have ever used, along with that really useful digital gauge cluster. The XC60 is also spacious for the segment. There's plenty of standard features and optional engines you could choose from. And lastly, it is quiet, comfortable, and you get a great steering. Now, to sum up the bad, some of the features that should be standard are optional. There's very little USB ports within. The steering wheel looks dated. And finally, there's very little hidden storage in the trunk for storage. Overall, I'm giving this brand new 2020 Volvo XC60 T5 all-wheel drive Momentum a score of 98. And to see how it ranks among its peers, check out driversonlyrankings.com. Thanks for watching. Hit the like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future reviews, first looks, or news.